kids, it's me, Flaming Poop, and today I am here with these friendly llamas by my side. Look at them go. But today I'm doing something a little bit new. I'm going for another speed den, because of course it's my channel, I do dens all the time. But I'm adding a little fun story in, because I have wanted to do a story time for a while, so this is a pretty terrifying story, so let's go ahead and begin. Okay, so I was going to the gym, and no, I don't normally go to the gym that often. I don't really like it there. I find it quite terrifying, actually. So the past few days, I had been kind of just like sitting and doing Animal Jam stuff, because I've been making videos while also doing the Animal Jam Survivor stuff, which takes up a lot of my time. So I hadn't really been doing much physical activity, and I started to feel kind of like eh, and I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and go to the gym and do something physical so that I don't feel like a total slug. And for the past few days, I also wasn't really eating or drinking that much, because I've like, when I get into Animal Jam, I'm like, I'm not hungry, it's fine, I'm just having a great time with all my fellow llamas like I'm doing right now. And I was just like eating some stuff, but like I could have made a sandwich, but I was too lazy, so I just ate like a Cheez-It if I wanted to, and that's all I did. And I wasn't really that thirsty either, because I was in air conditioning the whole time, so I wasn't really getting too thirsty. But I was just doing Animal Jam the whole time, and so when I went to the gym, I started to like do things, and then I would like stop for water constantly, and I was like, oh my gosh, why do I like feel so like gross and like tired? Like even I'd be texting my friends, because I couldn't escape my phone despite the fact that I was supposed to be at the gym, and I would like be holding up my phone and texting, and I'd still be getting exhausted from that. So like it was like unusually like tiring doing all these like exercises. Not what it had been like in the past when I go to the gym, but I was just expecting that because I hadn't been in a while, and I was like, I'm just getting used to things. So I kept doing fun stuff like that, and it was pretty terrifying, like a normal gym trip, but it was a little bit worse, and I was getting a little bit more tired than usual, and I was like, I kept getting water, but it wasn't feeling that much better. After a little while, I started to feel like kind of sick, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna like go ahead and like throw up, which is not pleasant. I'm gonna go ahead and stop working out, so like I don't really do that, because I don't want to do that, because why would I? Yeah, so then I like sat down, and I was like so exhausted at that point that I like was too lazy to get up, but I thought I like wanted water really badly, so I started to like sit down, and I was like, oh gosh, I started to feel like I was gonna actually throw up, and I was like really nervous, and made me really uncomfortable and terrified, and I kept texting my dad to like go ahead and take us home or something, but he wouldn't reply, he wouldn't see the text. But yeah, so I was sitting down, and I was like getting super exhausted from even just like holding my phone and texting. Oh my gosh, I was so tired, and I thought I was gonna die, and I was like, oh my god, I need to leave. And my brother, Bond 6, came by, because he was there too, and I was just like, oh my god, get dad, I want to go home now, I feel really sick. And he was like, wait, okay, fine, just gonna talk like that, but we'll just pretend. And yeah, so he went to get my dad, and then I sat there for like another minute, and then 2 minutes, and it started to like started to hurt a little bit more, and this weird thing started to happen when my hands were like, I can't show you because I don't have a face cam, but like my hands were like closing together and on their own, and I couldn't open them, so like my fists were clenched together, and I couldn't open them back up, and it was just like stuck in like a clenched position. I hate that word, oh my god. And I couldn't move them, and it felt really weird. It felt like I had hit my, like, you know that feeling when you hit your funny bone? And another word that I don't like to say, but that feeling was like in my hands, and it started to happen in my feet too, and pretty much all across my body. And then my feet were like cramping, which foot cramps obviously hurt a lot, and like everything was like cramping and had this weird feeling in it, and was like all squeezing together on its own, and it was really weird, and I had never experienced it before, but it was happening throughout my whole body, and it was actually really painful, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like really painful, and I can't really describe what it felt like, but I was like, oh, make it stop. And so then my dad ran by, and he was like, just one more lap, and I was like, no. I like reached out in terror and pain, and if you saw my face, I was like, no, no. Like, it looked like I was like, I don't know, it was very dramatic of me. And, yeah, and he was taking another minute of a lap, I guess, and I was like, oh my gosh, this hurts really badly, and I was like hyperventilating, and I was like, oh my gosh, I like cannot do this. I started to breathe really fast, and it really hurt. Like, everything started to hurt even more, like it got worse and worse, and my hands were like squeezing so hard that it was like hurting my actual skin, because my fingers were like pushing too hard on my skin, and I couldn't move them, and they were trapped, and they kept doing it. And it was like really uncomfortable and painful. And then at that point, I was like, also still felt like I was gonna throw up, and I was really uncomfortable. And I was like, and so, meanwhile, I'm like literally in the middle of the gym, and everyone's like looking at me, like staring at me, like, what the heck is this kid doing? What the heck? And then my dad came by, and at this point, I was like, oh my gosh, like, you're gonna have to carry me out. Like, this hurts so bad. And I just like laid on the floor, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna get a trainer to help. And I was laying on the floor, and I was like, it hurts so bad that I was like rolling on the floor, because like I needed it to stop, and I needed it to stop. It hurt really bad, and I didn't know what else to do but other than roll myself around the floor, because why not? So I did that, and everyone was staring at me, and I was like, make it stop. And, well, I mean, it wasn't that intense. I was, like, hiding it a little bit because I'm not, like, didn't want to be that embarrassed, but it was pretty intense. And then my dad came with his trainer, and she started to do these, like, really helpful things. She was like, pull your feet back, it will help out. And so I did that. I don't know why that helped, but it did. And then I started to drink water, but since I couldn't hold anything and my hands were, like, stuck, and my arms would also not move, and I couldn't put those anywhere. And it felt like, she described it as, like, she was talking to my dad about what it felt like for me, and she said it was like, you feel like you're, like, running a marathon and you, like, can't stop. So yeah, it's, like, really exhausting, like, you can't really stop, and it's, like, endless exhaustion, which is, like, kind of terrifying. And yeah, it was terrifying. But I was like, oh my god, this is, like, really painful. And obviously you can exercise, but just knowing that you can't stop, it's like, what the heck, this is scary. So she had to, like, pour water into my mouth for me, and I had to stop, like, I had to breathe gently despite the terror that was going on. And in about 30 minutes, everything started to fix. Like, my feet started to feel better in about 10 minutes, but my hands were still stuck for about, like, another 20 minutes. But then I felt better, and she explained that I was dehydrated and all these things that I'd done, and I was like, wow, I'm obviously really healthy just sitting on the computer screen all day. But here I am doing that again, so yay! But, I mean, yeah, it was actually really scary, and it was quite the night. It was really weird, and there's really nothing else to say other than that, so make sure you drink a lot of water, kids, because otherwise you'll end up like me, and you'll experience a lot of pain, and it won't be fun. But, yeah, I guess now I'm gonna have to end the speed duds and do a little outro. So, if you enjoyed a story time and you'd like to see more of the Film and Goop styled story times, make sure to tell me in the comments below. If you enjoyed this one and you'd like to see more, I don't really have that many stories. Like, I don't have an interesting life, to be honest. So, like, there's not really that much that I could tell you, but I could, maybe something else traumatic would happen to me again. There's something that I could talk about. That would be fun. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Ew.